Another episode of Doug's Doings. I saw a Christmas Nativity on the site shoptalkwithtim because I wanted to make a nativity for someone at work, and I adapted his concept and kind of made it my own, and here's the video. Starting with making the stable out of this nice piece of oak and cutting the slits and getting the outline cut out, and then time for the sander and shaping to finish cutting out this stable that will stand up and be in the background of this kind of minimalistic nativity set. I used the bandsaw to cut out the interior arc, and just like that, we have our stable. I have this large piece of cherry I decided to use for Mary and Joseph. I didn't record Joseph because it was very similar to the process of cutting out and turning Mary on the lathe. So here is measuring out and getting the dimensions and shape of Mary. I wanted it simple, clean lines, but with a definite outline and shape of Mary. This is the first year that I've had this square carbide chisel to use on the lathe, and it does a fantastic job of removing material quickly but also very smoothly. And then the tip, the diamond detailer, that really allows me to put nice detail and curves and shapes super easily and smoothly, much easier than using traditional chisels. I'm a big fan of these carbide cutters. I've glued two pieces of cherry together with paper in between them, and to start shaping and forming the manger. Enjoy. Merry Christmas. By gluing them together, I can carve it round and form the inside on the lathe into a hollow, and then separate them into two pieces and glue a piece in the middle so that I can create an oblong manger instead of just round. Traced out and cut out the middle section and glued one half at a time, and did some rough trimming with the Dremel tool to get it lined up and started, and then glued the other half together to form the manger. Then, with some help from the belt grinder, able to shape it out and get it to a nice finish to hold the baby Jesus. nice small leftover piece of cherry, I rounded it and marked off the section to carve a baby Jesus wrapped in swaddling clothes. This was a very simple task, but one of my favorite parts of the whole project was carving out and creating this little baby Jesus. Once I got him mostly finished, I went to lay him in the manger and realized that I had my dimensions just a little bit off and he didn't want to lay perfectly flat into the manger. So I ended up flattening off and rounding off one end of it so it would lay in the manger better. Once again, I used a paper joint in this step of the process to start creating the pieces for the star. I wanted symmetrical top and bottom and points, and so I glued two pieces together. I had to reinforce it with tape here because it was wanting to separate in that joint and give me the pieces of the star. Once I started grinding them on the belt sander, I could shape them and refine the points. And here you see them starting to come together to form this cool little star figure. A little bit of stain and finish. And here it is, the manger scene. Merry Christmas, Kayleen.